Hello folks, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you an alternative way to do form validation. Now the way that we've done here works, it's fine, and if you like it that's good, but one of the challenges, you can see it actually, is that sometimes these rules become so big and they can run right off the page and it's a little bit of an irritation. So what I'm going to do is I'll comment out the stuff from the last video here. And I'm going to show you an alternative syntax, and this syntax involves creating a validation array. So we can say something like validation. Now call it anything you want, let's just call it validation rules, okay? So we're going to have an array of validation rules coming up, and then we're going to pass the validation rules. In fact, let me do this right now. We're going to pass the rules into this run method here. So it's pretty much the same type of structure. The only difference is we're going to build up an array of validation rules. So let's see how we get on here, right? Now, looking at the three fields, I can see that the first one is called title. So I want to build up an array that represents this thing here. You can call it anything you want, by the way, the array, but I'll just call it title rules. Okay, title rules. Now, title rules is, well, if we have a look at the actual rules here, we've got required. So I'm going to just say required, right? So a key of required. Now, there's not really any value that's attached to this required thing. So to make it meaningful, I'm going to say required equals true. Okay, now on the next line, you can see that we've got a minimum length of 3. So I'm going to say title rules min length equals 3. And then you can see we've got a maximum length of 75. So I'm going to say title rules and then max length equals 75. All right, so I've built up an array of title rules, and that array represents these rules here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say validation rules, and in square brackets I'm going to put the name of the form field. In this case it's title. So the validation rules for the title is going to be equal to the title rules. There you go. Okay, so I'll just say set title rules. That's what we were doing there. Fair enough? Okay, now let's do set description rules. Okay, so for the description rules, it's just required. So I'm going to just say description rules, and it's going to be required equals true. Again, let's say validation rules description equals, and it's going to be description rules. There we go. Now let's do the final one. So set the author ID rules. So I'll just call this one author ID rules. And for this one, it's just required again. So required equals true. And finally, validation rules for author ID equals the author ID rules. Okay, so this here, this stuff right in here, is just an alternative way of doing this. And the benefit is it does not run off the page, especially if you've got lots of rules, you know. So that's what we're going to do. Let's just save this, and we're going to head back to our form here. I'll make it a decent size. Okay, now I'm leaving out the book title, so let me just do that, and I'm going to just hit submit. And you can see it says the title field is required. Let's do it so that the title's too short, right? So I'll say OK. I'm going to submit. There you go. And as you can see, all of the stuff, well, hopefully it should work Okay, there's all of our errors coming back. And there you go. And just to prove everything is cool, I'll say Gone with the Wind. Here we go. We'll choose an author. Published. And now it says well done. So, 2 different ways of doing validation rules. Now, those of you who have an eagle eye may have noticed something. And the thing you may have noticed is I never mentioned the label anywhere. So for example, if we take author ID, right? Let's not choose an author and hit submit. And you can see it says the author ID field is required. Now, it has helpfully removed the underscore from the form field name, and that's kind of nice. Maybe that'll work for some of the instances, who knows? But if you want to actually set a label, the way that you do that is you would go to, for example, where we've got author ID rules here, we would just say author ID rules label equals author. Save it. We're going to hit submit now. And there you go. So as you can see, we can control everything we want, the rules, the form field name, even the label. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next video.